Hello, everyone. This is Sanjay Poonen. I'm the new president and CEO of Cohesity. I've been with the company about 6 months, and I'm super excited about our vision for where we're taking this great company, leading the era of data security and management. We are experiencing some tremendous amount of momentum as a company over the last several years. We have 3,500 customers, and where we're seeing great success is the Fortune 1000. The biggest customers are gravitating to us because we have a modern platform that is disrupting the legacy players. We're able to showcase some incredible cost of ownership and ROI benefits and are leading the frontier of how you think about security in this space. 40% of the Fortune 100 have picked us. A significant number for the Fortune 1000, probably one of the highest of any modern vendor, are gravitating to us. In certain key verticals, we're having great success. Financial services, in the federal sector, with healthcare, public sector, and many of the largest brands. And part of the reason is this innovation that you're going to hear about in the next few minutes, but is also our dedication to customer satisfaction. We have one of the highest NPSs of anybody in our industry. Let's talk to you about what's incredibly unique about what we're trying to get done. And it starts with the focus right now on protecting people's data and security. There are 20 ransomware attack attempts every second. Profound. It often takes, when you do get hit, and it's not a matter of if, but when, 270 plus days to recover from this. 50% almost of your data is in the public cloud. And often, a lot of that data, 70% almost of it, is sitting there unleveraged without any deep analytics from it. When you think about protecting your data, a good way to think about this is the metaphor of the medieval times and how people tried to attack a castle. You had layers of defense, one moat after the other. And when you got to the final inner sanctum, if you were able to break through that final layer of defense, you got the king or queen's crown jewels. It's very similar in security. If you think about your first layer of defense being physical security, and if you're able to get past the next layer of defense, which might be network security, and there's some great technologies there, for example, from Palo Alto, or endpoint security from CrowdStrike, application security, going deep into the source code. I'm on the board of a company there called Snyk. You finally get to your data security assets, which are your crown jewels. You have to ensure that you've got both a proactive and a reactive approach to being able to protect that, much like the NIST framework, where you identify, detect, protect, recover. Now, if you think about the way in which you might proactively do it, there are things that we could do to identify and detect something before it actually happens. If you think about reactive, we would assume a breach happens, and then we want to make sure that we could recover incredibly fast. So in the modern world, if you're going to assume it's not a matter of if but when, the recovery aspect of it becomes just as important as everything you do to identify and detect. And we'll cover this in more detail later. Just as important as data security is data management. And the data management landscape is fragmented. Traditionally, there's been one set of backup tools, another file system and objects tools, various different tools for analytics. This landscape has to come together, and nobody in the industry has been able to pull together these 5 pillars of data protection, data security, data mobility, data access, and data insights into one platform. And this incredible amount of depth that we've been working at to be able to have in this one platform best of breed capabilities that's both broad and deep. For example, backup, mass recovery, archival, resilience, in the areas of data protection, cyber vaulting, threat scanning, classification, deep integration with security tools in data security, and on and on. And even that's part of the reasons customers like the journey we're on, where we're intending, just like any other great platforms, whether it's AWS or VMware or ServiceNow, a broad and deep platform that can be timeless. A couple of our differentiations, 3 S's. First off, scale, simplicity, and security. You have to be both consumer simple and enterprise secure. You got to be almost Google scale, Apple simple. And that's what we built here. The scalability of the solution is second to none, but its simplicity is also beautiful compared to existing solutions. But you've also got to be thinking about security, not as a bolt-on, but deeply zero trust security deep into the architecture. We'll cover that also in a little bit of detail. AI and ML is in every aspect of what we do. If the data changes, we want to be able to detect it automatically. That's called data entropy. If there are things by which we can populate fields of forms really easily so you can then integrate this with a IT service management solution like ServiceNow. We're going to do that. Every single place we can, we're baking AI and ML into the cable. Self-healing. Those are all examples of where a lot of engineers, many of whom came from Google, have got great aspects of AI and ML built into the way in which we're fighting, to keep these assets safe. And by the way, there's a lot of parallels to the way in which we fight the bad guys and the way the healthcare industry fights viruses and many of the most painful diseases, which we'll get into too in detail. Gartner recognizes us as the only platform that's extensible with deep set of APIs, so a number of startups and bigger companies could integrate into our marketplace. And then we continue to be focused on an NPS that's second to none in this industry. Very, very important for you to think about the convergence of security, management, and analytics in a data cloud. That's what we're doing. The architecture has been built to be hybrid cloud and multi-cloud. We could start on-premise with a particular cluster and ensure that we get all of those workloads, whether it's VM, virtual machines, or databases or apps. Then we move to the public cloud. AWS, for example, and Google Ventures are an investor in this company because when they looked at the public cloud architecture, they saw something that was second to none. We can back up some of the public cloud workloads that need to run on-prem into AWS or many native AWS workloads, and our capabilities there is far outshining. When I was recently at AWS reInvent, many of the customers were telling us that our capabilities there were way ahead of everybody in the industry. But not to be outdone, many of our customers have Azure and Microsoft assets like Microsoft 365, or they want to be able to put their Cyber Vault in Azure. And we're continuing to think about that multi-cloud for Google or private cloud. So this architecture needs to be able to be timeless so that you have hybrid cloud, multi-cloud capabilities, and all of the apps, whether it's on-premise or public clouds, in one control plane. There's a UI Helios that's the centralized single pane of glass, so to speak. And as you think about all of this coming together in that unified architecture, we've got plenty of headroom for how this could expand for many, many years to come in that unique user experience. Now, when you think about also what's important, not just in the past, but especially in this economy, where there's a focus on cost and ROI, no CIO or CISO is going to focus on anything that does not have a TCO and ROI benefit that's apparent and clear. It's almost two sides of the same coin. When I talk to customers about their TCO benefits of Cohesity, I almost feel listening to them, it's like a weight loss commercial. What they had before was, some software to be able to do some process like backup and recovery, some extra aspects of disks that were hardware, storage that was hardware driven, very expensive, a whole bunch of backup admins, sometimes 100-odd backup admins. Enter Cohesity, and we are instantly at least 50% lower cost of ownership. You get rid of all this extra hardware that you don't need often for external storage because we're software defined. The amount of labor used is significantly lower, so the total cost of ownership is dramatic. And Forrester has done some studies of this that validate that across. But just as important is ROI. When you think about the recovery time, if you're going to get attacked, and it's not a matter of if but when, you want to ensure your restoration and recovery time is beautiful. And this is one where we beat everybody in the industry in recovery. Our mass recovery, sometimes with the legacy or alternatives, takes 45 minutes. With us, it takes 4 minutes. And this is the beautiful aspect of the architecture that our engineers have built over years. And recovery is just one aspect of the scale where we shine. Now let's talk a little bit about security, because we got to go a little deeper in what we're doing in security. That's incredible. First off, security is built in, not bolted on. So things like multi-factor authentication, encryption, role-based access controls, and all the aspects of deep security are deep in the platform for years. But if you think about parallels to how the world has been fighting massive disease in the last few years, there's some parallels to how we think about security. So let me build on that analogy. What did we do? The first thing we did in fighting this major disease the last 3 years was we quarantined and we built an isolation capability for folks who might be affected by that. That equivalent in this world is cyber vaulting. And when all the cyber vaults were compared at VMworld, we won the gold medal. Everybody else came second, third, or fourth. We won this gold medal because of the superiority of our tech. We've been thinking about immutable backups and air gap, and being able to get this to work, for example, in multi-cloud environments is very tough. to be able to get it to work in AWS and Azure and Google and in private cloud with a whole bunch of quorum of keys and how that's orchestrated with object locking. There's a whole bunch of tech. Just trust us, we're the gold medal in this area. That's isolation, just like you did quarantining to fight a disease. Well, what did we also get good at in fighting this disease? We got really good at testing. You want to get on a plane, you got to test. You got to get off a plane, you test. You wanted to get into office, you test it. The equivalent in this world is scanning. So we built the best threat scanners, and not just that these scanning got engines inside them that get threat feeds automatically delivered so you can scan at scale, but we also accept third-party feeds, which has never been done, where Palo Alto or CrowdStrike or Azure Sentinel or anybody else or Splunk feed their data into our capability set. And now you've got the best aspects of what we provide out of the box, but also a number of third-party feeds. Again, never been done in the industry at our scale. What did we also get good when fighting disease? We basically got our elderly folks who might be exposed to this, being able to do blood tests and cholesterol tests really, really fast and easily. That equivalent in fighting security and the bad guys is classification of data. We want to make sure that when you get actually hit by ransomware, you're able to categorize your data, and it might be both backup or non-backup data in a way by which you decide this is the data you want to be able to recover fastest because it's got sensitive information. That's classification. And we OEM the technology from BigID, and we work with some of the best data classification partners to, in essence, allow you to get a vast majority of deep data classification. Finally, we've also built deep integrations to our vision is an automated and AI-driven security operations control center, SOC. And many of our key partners like Palo Alto have that vision. We want to make sure that their threat feeds automatically come to us and we feed them. So we created this notion of, first time done in the industry, of a data security alliance, where we got the best of the 10, 15, 20 security companies to partner with us and us with them, where we're going to be sharing many of these best practices. And this is, again, one of the state-of-the-art organizations. We're looking, this is just a starting point. We'll have many, many more security partners that form a village that it takes to be able to fight these. What they will all do is take that sort of this framework, and there'll be elements of what we do, but as a team sport, for example, maybe it's CrowdStrike and Tenable and Palo Alto that are focused on the identify part, and maybe Mandiant and PwC focused on the response part. We'll divide and we'll make sure that we build the best team to help you fight this. What did we also do in fighting the bad guys? We brought the best doctors in fighting disease. It's the same way here. When you think about the best in the security industry, these are people like Kevin Mandia, who, when the world goes through a crisis, one of the first people that gets called is Kevin Mandia and the Mandiant team. He is now on our board of Cohesive. When he looked at all the players in the space, he picked us as the board he wanted to play on. Marion Bailey from the CIA and NSA, she is now as a security advisor. Kelly Bissell leads the security services at Microsoft. He's our security advisor in this team. And then many of the other folks here. Alex Stamos was a CISO at Facebook. Jason Chan was CISO at Netflix. And Sheila Jordan and Laura Berriman have deep experience in security and IT. We're honored to be working with these folks. Now, when you think about what this all means, the analysts have now started to look at our solution. Forbes had a prominent analyst, Patrick Moorhead, who wrote an article that said Cohesity has now leapfrogged all of the competition in data security and management. And that's because of the innovation and the customer validation of what we're building. We are also the fastest growing in market share. IDC had some stats that compared the growth in market share relative to everybody else. Many of the legacy players are losing share, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of customers. And then this one just came out a few weeks ago. Forrester ranked all the players, and you can see the dramatic difference from 3 years ago. Many of the players have now shrunk in vision or fallen behind in share, and we are the most right in terms of product capabilities and strategy and vision. And we're super grateful to our partners and our customers for the validation, and of course to our incredible engineers and product teams who built this incredible case. The executive team and the board, deeply supportive. We're continuing to recruit the best and brightest, not just in the executive team, at all layers of the company. And our goal is to build the best company which has a high-performance culture and an employee engaged and one of the best places to work. So for employees, it's also a great place just as much as it's for customers and for partners. So in summary, Here's the kind of the key things that I would take away. Number one, we are focused as a company on product innovation and customer obsession for years to come. Number two, when you think about the way in which we are differentiated because of the coming together of data security, data management, analytics, insight, many of these things which has never been done before. Those 5 pillars, a highly differentiated vision. And we believe we're not alone. It's going to take an ecosystem and a village to win in this space. We're excited about not just what we can do on our own with our employees and with our customers, but what we can do with the partner ecosystem. Thank you very much for listening to this. I look forward to sharing this story with you individually. I'm super excited, as you can tell from my passion. I wanted to make this story, Sesame Street, simple to all of you. And now, hopefully, as we evolve this, we welcome all of you, our customers and partners, to go on this journey with us as we continue to innovate an incredibly long-lasting technology company for years to come. Thank you.